take a look at the dollar, which has been interesting this week so far. It is only Tuesday, but we have seen a bit of strength, and that's kind of what I'm looking to expect this week. I'm looking for a lot more USD strength. An interesting level, which of course we pointed out yesterday, is of course price support running through the market here, kind of lining up pretty well with this area of supply, which you've more or less about tapped into. Now, the plan this week for USD is to see what price does at this area, because personally, I'm not really interested in continuing to short the dollar anymore. I feel like we are very, very corrective right now. The market's been bearish for quite a while, and we're running out of steam a little bit. And I do have the expectation that eventually, soon enough, we'll see a pretty nice move to the upside, and there could be some nice pullback opportunities there. Now, with the mindset of a swing trade, you're always looking for the bigger move. Where could the bigger move be? And I would expect it to be to the upside. I feel like we are quite exhausted, so I'm not really looking to continue to swing dollar to the downside unless there's a very strong bearish move and there's a lot of momentum injected into the market again and things look healthy. Then sure, I will be happy to look for pullbacks, but that's not the case. So I'm being very skeptical about shorting the pair. On the contrary, on the lower time frames, I think shorts look good. I did speak about this area here yesterday. I said if you're looking for a short for a day or two, this might be a nice level to look at. Let's see how price reacts with that level. Of course, we can see price has smashed into that level. We had a bit of a gap as the new daily candle has opened, but we have seen a nice reaction. Perhaps you might have a deeper test and again see another reaction. So again, intraday, I'll still keep an eye on that. We're moving very corrective on the way up. Haven't really seen any dramatic bullish momentum just yet, indicating reversal. So if we do stay corrective, I think there's a good chance we do see a nice reaction. So lower time frame, I think shorts look good around 97.8. We'll see what price does at that area. You can see the consistent lower highs price has been forming. I think this is a smart area to look to short the market again upon some confirmations. If we do rally through this and break through, then I'll be looking for my buying opportunities. At that point, maybe somewhat of a inverse head and shoulder pattern. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and this is where I look for my buying opportunities, perhaps on a retest of that area, and then we'll see how far we can take it. But for now, we are still bearish. So intraday, I think shorts are the smart move, but again, I'm not looking for any big moves here. USD's been bearish for quite a while. We're quite oversold, quite stretched. We're looking for fatigued, very corrective right now. So because of all of those reasons, I wouldn't look for big moves for USD weakness. Same thing for EURUSD to the upside. This one's been equally as bullish as dollar has been bearish. I think euro dollar is quite stretched at the moment, looking pretty fatigued as well. So again, I wouldn't be looking for any big moves to the upside for EURUSD because I feel like the market is coming to not necessarily an end, but at least a temporary top. We might have a bigger pullback on the cards for a while before maybe the bigger move and the longer term trend does continue. But I do expect to see a bigger pullback at some stage. You can see price has been moving in this ascending channel for quite a while, fading at the highs there. Perhaps we might see a deeper pullback. I did point out this area as a very interesting area for EURUSD. You've got prior resistance, you've got nice area of demand, strong push to the upside. Lines up pretty well with the lower end of this channel. I think that would be a smart place to find some buys for euro and perhaps another swing back to the high, but I wouldn't look to try and take it any further than that. Because again, I do think euro can have that bigger retracement and hopefully some shorts off the back of that, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. But we're still a long way away from that, so not going to speak too much on the shorts. But for now, buys still look good. We still do have somewhat of a corrective bearish move on the way down, which still implies that the buyers are still overly in control of the market. So if we can come back down and test this area of confluence, I think it's a smart place for a buy. Of course, waiting for our confirmations, but a test of 1.163 looks good, and potential pushback to highs, or at least a day or two. I think we can see a nice reaction there. But we are looking quite tight, so I'm not expecting much more to the upside for euro. Looking at the daily chart as well, I do think a bit of a dip is going to happen soon. Again, the bigger move may still be to the upside, but there might be a few days, maybe a few weeks even, of some bearish momentum coming up. In terms of pound USD, same situation as well. Again, very similar pairs, so the technical analysis is normally the same. You can see pound USD taking out major highs recently. Again, you can see how corrective we were becoming, starting to move in a bit of a channel here. I do think pound could have a bit of a relax, a bit of a relief of that trend. Again, we may still attack higher, we may still continue higher longer term, but I do think we're running out of steam and a bigger pullback is good, is likely. And judging the lower time frames, you can see in the 4-hour chart, we had a nice rally recently, left behind a bit of a consolidation, came back just about to retest that, and we've been looking pretty bearish since. So I do think on an intraday level as well, more downside is likely. I'm looking at this range located just below us. Nice range over there, strong push to the upside, a lot of momentum there. I think naturally this could be an area which price is drawn towards, and perhaps a smart area for a buy as well. Again, I'll keep it short term, not looking for anything too crazy for pound. Similar to euro, we do have this trend line connecting the previous swing lows, 1, 2, perhaps we see a third one. Again, we do have this ascending channel behavior with pound USD as well. All these USD markets kind of operating in the same way. USD has been pretty bearish, but we're becoming quite corrective now. Momentum's starting to die out, and I do think we can turn around. So as you can see, now the channel rejected the high. It looks like we're approaching the low. Again, I think this is a smart place for a buy. Not only have you got the trend line, but you got a healthy area of demand, which price hasn't come back to retest yet. So it's still nice and fresh and did give us a pretty big up move. So we might not see a massive continuation, but we could at least probably see a reaction, which could last a day or two, which could be more than enough to profit from, especially if you're going to really drop to the lower time frames to fine tune your entry. Could still look at a decent risk to reward. So keep an eye on 1.35 there for pound. Equally for the selling opportunities, I would want to see price break through that. Then we can speak about some shorts, but again, we'll probably dive into that maybe next week or whenever it does happen, if it does happen. Dollar CAD, I'm pretty bullish on this one. We've already had a bit of a break of this counter trend line. We've been pretty bearish on the way down here. Very, very corrective. We came back more or less for a double bottom here as well. Price support from a couple of weeks back, strong reaction, more or less came back to retest that. Now we've had a sharp move to the upside. So the way I see it, we've had a strong breakout. This to me looks like price is having a bit of a breather, and I'm expecting us to find support at some area, particularly this over here. Nice resistance on the lower time frames, maybe a bit of an area of demand there as well. I think that would be a smart place for a buy, especially intraday, and perhaps we could see some longs from there. If I drop to the hourly time frame, you can see it in a bit more detail. Nice bit of structure just below us, around 1.362, and perhaps there we could be looking for some entries to take dollar CAD higher. And targets I'm looking for would be a push into this resistance at 1.37H, keeping it relatively simple. If you look at the bigger picture, where dollar CAD is trading, yes, it's still a bearish market. Overall, we have been falling for quite a while, but you can see where we're trading, big area of demand, massive reaction to the upside after a short-lived consolidation, big push to the upside. We're back in that area again. Naturally, I do think buyers will be looking to jump into the market at this particular price. And that could give us a bit more upside there for USD. Of course, if the dollar's going to reverse as well, that should help fund USD CAD's reversal as well. So I like what I'm seeing. I like the confluences adding up here for dollar CAD in this particular region. I like the reaction we had right at the start of the week, breaking out that descending channel after forming this double bottom. So I do think more upside is likely there for dollar CAD. And in particular, I think intraday opportunities look good. Aussie dollar's a little bit awkward. We did see some downside yesterday. Didn't quite get to my my entry level, unfortunately, before we did see some downside. Looks like more or less price has rebounded off the lower end of the channel. I was looking for a little bit more upside last week to around 0.66. Basically just looking for price to retest the upper end of the channel as we did over here, So the plan was keeping it very, very simple. Another retest of the high, hopefully see some rejection, then short Aussie back to the low end of the channel. We did see that, but just missed that area of entry by a few pips there, unfortunately. Of course, that's going to happen from time to time in trading. The market's not perfect. You're not perfect as well. You will miss some opportunities, unfortunately, but it's part of the game. Anyway, Aussie dollar, nice push into the low end of the channel. Strong reaction. I think we had a bit of Aussie news last night because Aussie seems to be pretty strong at the moment. I mean, I still do expect Aussie to break lower. So I'm still going to keep an eye on shorts. Maybe we do push up to the up end of the channel now and I do get the shorts I'm looking for. Maybe I'm going to stay awake to that. I'm not going to write it off. So if you can push into that 0.66 area, the up end of the channel, I think that still looks like a very nice place for a short. And keeping it simple, push back into the lows. I do think we can eventually break a lot lower, which is another reason why I like the shorts, because not only are we kind of operating within this range and there's a good chance price does reject the up end of the channel, if we're lucky, perhaps we do capitalize on a swing to the lower end and maybe a breakout as well. And yeah, I would expect a lot more downside if that's the case. So I like the shorts because risk reward, it could be looking very, very good. New Zealand dollar, same situation as Aussie, another ascending channel. You can see a lot of these USD pairs, USD majors are just ascending, which again is another sign that they're running out of steam. It's not like we're seeing healthy bullish trends anymore. We were early in the year, but now that's not so much the case. And again, that's perfectly natural. You're going to have a healthy trend, which is going to start to tire, start to come corrective. It's going to go through a bigger pullback. Then maybe that trend does continue eventually. And that could be what we're going through with the USD pairs. But at the moment, New Zealand dollar, again, still fluctuating in this channel. Very strong reaction from the high. I believe that was last week. I only really saw the momentum this week. Again, I'm not really seeing any opportunities. Some people could say, look for a retest here to keep shorting, but I don't think it's in a very smart area to get involved. The way I see it, price is operating in this channel, and these are the areas which you want to get involved in. This dotted line represents the middle, and that's where you can get the most kind of indecisiveness, the most fluctuation, the most just awkwardness and price, because that's where you can get all the fluctuation and not going to get a clean stop loss either. So I would avoid looking for entries and opportunities in the middle. I think that's where all the noise is, and the best places are always at the highs and lows of a range or the channel, because you can get relatively safe stop losses and always maximize your risk reward as well. Entering here is always a bit of an awkward situation. So not really seeing much of an opportunity, to be honest, with New Zealand dollar. Yeah, you can either up. I just don't think it's optimal. Maybe if price does return back to the high again, that could be something we look at. But what's the odds of price doing that? Maybe slim at the moment in time, but that's kind of the best I can see right now with New Zealand dollar. In terms of gold, gold's been interesting. I did talk about some buying opportunities on the lower time frames in this area here yesterday. I said that's a smart place to look for a buy, somewhat of an inverse head and shoulder, left head, right shoulder. There's your inverse head and shoulder pattern. So I talked about some buys here. We did see some nice wicks there on the 4 hour, nice shift of momentum there outside of this channel on the hourly chart. And we did see a very nice rally. I did speak about maybe targets pushing back into the high here. Haven't quite seen that. We've only come back into this level, but that would have been a smart place to book some partials, or at least remove risk, go to break even. Now, what do I expect with gold? Well, like I said with gold, I'm not really so intrigued to trade it anymore, because the way I see gold right now is that we are just kind of a big consolidation. So I'm not trying to get into the specifics with gold in terms of the price action at the moment, because it is just fluctuating and there's no consistency to price apart from that we're just kind of going up and down. So I'm not really trying to predict too much with gold. The overall uptrend is still very much alive and well. So that's predominantly the direction I want to trade in. But I don't really have an opportunity for that yet, or at least a good one anyway. I wouldn't mind if we were to push back into the lows here, maybe some buys off that support level. But yeah, intraday, nice reaction off that low. Let's see if that momentum can continue. We're starting to struggle a little bit, but I still think we can probably make a push into resistance, and then we'll go from there. Maybe price rejects that well, and we come back down. It's a very, very awkward price action. I wouldn't really be looking for a big move in gold. I said yesterday, if you do get into any entries, keep it short and sweet with gold, because we are fluctuating quite a lot, not seeing sustained momentum. So it's not like you want to hold a position, just expect the trend to continue. At the moment, gold is very sideways, so I wouldn't be looking for any big continuations just yet. Silver, kind of the same situation as well. Sharp breakout recently. Although, if we were to pull back and retest this level on the daily chart, I would be looking for a pretty big swing, because the whole idea is that we've had a sharp breakout of that, a retest, and now expecting the continuation. So I would look for the buys. But what I would stay away from for silver, which is what I mentioned yesterday as well, is silver again ranging in this area. I'll be very, very careful with opportunities. I did speak about some short-term buys in this area. Prior resistance broke through, so this could be a smart place for a buy. We did see a nice reaction, but again, nothing sustained, and that's just because momentum is very, very flat right now with silver. It's going to take some type of catalyst to break us out of this range here, and maybe some news announcement. Right now, we are very, very flat and lacking momentum. So if you are looking for opportunities, especially intraday inside this range here, my biggest advice is keep it short and sweet.